So this is going to be the start of a new series on this channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but I've been holding off on it at the same time because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it. And now, here we are. Today, I'm gonna embarrass myself and start reading the book about my Benton OC titled Hero, which was written not too long ago, actually, about early last year, I think I want to say. This isn't anything that's special. Anyone can write a book and throw it up on the internet. This is more of a sharing experience, I guess. There are a few references in there to like other things I've written, so whenever that pops up, just don't worry about it if you don't get it. But without further ado, this is Hero, and I hope you enjoy. I'm pretty sure somewhere you've heard this all before. My name is Cesar Cabello, and well, what I'm about to tell you, or what you're about to read, you're going to have an open mind. This sort of coming of age story involves tragedies, awesomeness, and an amazing superhero who definitely doesn't let his ego get the best of him. Okay, that last part may have been a lie. Let's just start over. To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to be able to believe in the impossible. Now, what if I told you that all those stories about dragons, fairies, and vampires were real? These things live among us every day without us realizing it. But the thing is, they're not the monsters you've come to know and fear. These creatures are actually aliens, and I can turn into almost every single one of them. I'm sure you may have heard of a guy named Ben Tennyson, but don't be mistaken. This is my story. It started when an alien device did what it did, and my life began when my mother's ended. I was only 11 years old when this thing called the Multitrix accidentally attached itself to me. Long story short, somehow my recklessness and immaturity led me to become a superhero, or superheroes to be specific. I fought crime, traveled to different planets, battled aliens, even crossed over to other dimensions. Now, that all may sound cool, but when you've been doing it as long as I have, you sort of wonder what it would be like to have a normal life. So I did. But I found myself stepping in the line of fire again, realizing that being a hero was an addiction, and even if you truly left that life behind, that power, that urge would still be with you. After a devastating fight that left me and my friends in shock, I inherited my stepfather's company in order to make the world a better place. There are other heroes out there, but they can't do what I can. This is the story of a hero who learned to be a man by becoming an alien. Deep in space, where no man has ever gone before, near a distant planet covered in dust, a silver-colored trident-shaped spaceship raced by at immense speeds. The engine that propelled the ship forward suddenly broke down and exploded, causing the vessel to be dead in the middle of space, as a much larger craft, resembling a technologically advanced pirate ship, slowed down and hovered above it. A beam shot down from the larger spacecraft to the smaller one, transporting and teleporting inhumane creatures in the spaceship. The beings were insect-like, having 8 arms with pincers at the end of each limb, antennae, and a crab-like mouth. The aliens held weapons in their grasp, from staffs that created energy to guns that fired a blast so dangerous it could blow a 10-inch hole through steel. Inside the spacecraft, the group of insects walked around the ship, aiming their weapons at those inside. They lined up a group of skinny blue bug-eyed creatures against the wall in the control section of the ship. "Give us everything," one of the creatures demanded, tossing a sack to another one of its kind. He was robust, with a metal pincer, only 5 arms, and had an eye patch over his right eye. Little did the pirates know they were being followed. Another alien flying towards the ship at high speeds. A terracotta and yellow pterosaur-like alien. The creature had glider-like wings, attached to a jetpack-like structure on his back, allowing him to boost forward through the vacuum of space, with a trail of cherry-colored space dust. He was wearing a black and red suit with red gloves, releasing a loud screech that silently echoed through space. The blast hit the back hull of the ship, causing it to dense up and bend. Folding his glider wings in, the creature landed on the hull with his claws digging into the metal, forced it open, and crawled inside. Once in, he saw a line of pirates with heavy weaponry all staring at him. "Permission to come aboard?" the alien asked in a parrot-like voice. The bug creatures all glanced at each other before aiming their weapons at the intruder and got ready to fire. The intruder squawked as his eyes widened before yelling out another loud screech, sending a few bugs flying in their backs, hitting the corridor wall violently. He then boosted himself forward with a jetpack on his back, as his wings retracted, making the ends of them clash with the heads of the pirates as he flew by. While flying, he created an energy whip that emitted from each of his wrists, then began waving them around, hitting the enemies he couldn't reach. The whips disappeared as he reached the end of the corridor, landing on the last pirate, knocking them out and standing up. The wings of the creature folded in once again, and with a red flash coming from the hourglass somewhere on his left shoulder, the alien creature had suddenly shifted into an adolescent human, whose sleeves were rolled up, showing off a red watch with black trimming along the sides, wearing black boots, a pair of cargo pants held up by a belt, a worn-down scarf around his neck, a burgundy leather jacket with the number 10 printed on the side of his chest, and a space helmet that revealed his black hair from the top. He looked back at the trail of unconscious bodies and investigating what exactly had happened here. Walking down the hall with a bit of a strut towards the main control room of the ship, through his mask he could see pirates noticing the number on his jacket, then scurrying away just from the sight of him. Entering the control room, he could see the blue aliens all huddled together as their belongings were being taken from them, as the bug creatures all stared in his direction. Pressing a button on the side of his helmet, the human caused the device to disappear, folding into a small earbud-like device on his right ear, revealing his light caramel-colored skin, brown eyes, messed up hair, and tuft of hair under his chin as he held a smirk on his face. The main bug with the metal appendage stepped forward. "C10. I'd say it's an honor to meet you, but..." The human cut the bug off, rolling his eyes. "Yeah, let's skip the whole evil introduction thing, shall we? I should have been on Earth an hour ago, and you delaying me isn't making my mood any better." The bug ignored the young man's request and continued. "I, Skurg, the best pirate in 3 galaxies, will do what no other has done before. Rob the great Cesar Cabello." Cesar sighed, knowing that his trip was delayed thanks to the pirate who most likely only took from poorly advanced planets, and otherwise places no alien would ever want to go. "Okay," Cesar muttered, watching Skurg get caught up in his speech, putting his guard down. Cesar looked down, activating a watch-like device on his wrist, causing the faceplate to pop up and display a silhouette of a 4-armed creature. Turning the bezel a couple of times, Cesar stopped on what looked to be a ghost. He pressed down the watch before feeling his body shift from human to something else entirely, as a red light engulfed him. Cesar felt lighter. He felt like himself, but something was obviously different. With a gaseous form, 4 claw-like fingers, gray skin with black lines running all over him, one purple eye in the center of his head, spikes growing out of his shoulders, bony fingers, and a ghostly tail. A form he dubbed Spectrum. "Therefore," Skurg continued as he turned around to face Cesar, only to see the ghostly alien in the human's place with shock. "Blast them!" the bug demanded. While the blue aliens all ducked for cover, the bugs all began shooting in Cesar's direction. Spectrum's body shifted from being tangible to intangible, causing the firepower to pass right through his body with his arms crossed. Soon and quickly the bugs ran out of firepower, leaving Spectrum to let out an eerie chuckle, sending chills down the pirates' exoskeletons. "My turn," he said chillingly. The ghost then flew into one of the bugs' bodies as they were reloading, then lifted their arms up, causing them to shoot one of their comrades, hopping from body to body, causing each of the bugs one by one to attack each other. Spectrum made the group untrustworthy to themselves, making the pirates all shoot each other down from fear and paranoia. Skurg, The only one of his team left standing watched as Spectrum transformed back into Caesar. Skirk lifted up a gun, aimed it at the hero, then pulled the trigger only for the weapon to not fire. The bug threw the gun down. "Curse you!" he shouted before racing towards the ladder leading to the exterior of the spacecraft and climbing up. "Gracias TBC-10," one of the blue aliens said, standing up. Caesar recognized the language the creature was speaking, then nodded in their direction. "Grata Vestra." "But irritatingly enough, it's not over yet," Caesar replied. "One of the engines on our ship is destroyed. I can get the ship moving again. Just give me a moment to handle Blackbug the pirate," he added in explanation. The blue creatures all nodded in understanding. Caesar looked up at the hatch where Skirk had escaped, then lifted up his wrist showing the black faceplate with two red stripes forming an outline of an hourglass symbol. He paused looking at all the pirates he defeated. "You also might want to tie these guys up," he added before a red flash was seen and his body began to alter. On the top of the spaceship in the darkened vastness of the cosmos, Skirk began disassembling the parts from a panel system mounted on the top of the craft. Suddenly, seeping from the cracked crevices of the ship, was a black and reddish-orange goop that formed into a slime bipedal techno-organic life form, with a body composed of a nanotechnological fluid metal substance. He had one cyclopean eye in the middle of their face, with his body covered entirely in circuitry matter. Skirk turned around seeing the alien and recognizing the white and black hourglass symbol planted on the chest of the creature. His eyes widened with fear as he continued to dismantle the panel. A red beam shot out of Caesar's cyclopean eye, hitting Skirk, causing the bug alien to fly a few feet away and roll against the top of the spaceship. Caesar, now in his new tech form, began to bend and stretch as his entire body covered the spaceship, taking control of the circuitry and mechanics of it all, becoming the spacecraft itself. Skirk stood up, seeing a technological gel-based fist form from underneath him. Before he knew it, he was punched so hard he flew up towards his ship and into the tractor beam. The fist that hit him turned into a cannon, firing Skirk's engine before melding with the rest of the ship and blasting off. "Everyone fasten your seatbelts. You are now flying Space 10 Astro Lines. Next stop, Earth," Glitch said over the intercoms as he rocketed away.